What's up? We're back with part 3 of my Blu-ray and DVD collection video. We're gonna hop right back into the horror movies, but first I just wanted to start by mentioning the Silver Linings Playbook, because this should have been in my first video of my collection, my movie collection. I just forgot to mention it because it was over there by the TV. So anyway, had to put that in there at the beginning. We're going to jump right back into it, starting with the Nightmare on Elm Street collection. Okay, this is great. I love every one of these movies. Favorites are A Nightmare on Elm Street 1, Nightmare on Elm Street 1, and probably Wes Craven's New Nightmare. But anyway, I was long overdue to getting this collection here, but I'm very happy that I finally decided to. Everything looks great on Blu-ray, and I'm really happy with it. It was also nice kind of busting open that franchise again, because I hadn't watched those movies in years. Anyway, moving on to Saw, the complete movie collection. Now, this is films 1 through 7. They, of course, made the 8th one. I think that was called Jigsaw. And now they're making another, so it's never really the final movie. But I'm not going to get another collection. I'm just going to settle with this, because this is all I need. If I like any of the new movies, I'll just get the single copy. Next, we've got a rare occasion, another rare occasion where the remake is as good as the original, or at least in the race. And that's Evil Dead, the remake. I saw this in the theater. This was the first I think the first horror movie I ever saw in a movie theater, and it was a big deal. We snuck in, we did the whole thing, and it was just I just have very fond memories of seeing this in the theater, and it being like a real big deal, sneaking into the movie and the whole thing. But yeah, I really did enjoy this. It's not better than the original, of course, but it's right up there. This was a really well done remake, and I put this right up there with other enjoyable remakes like The Hills Have Eyes, the first remake, and things like that. I'm trying to think of another remake, but I can't off the top of my head. Anyway, definitely check this one out if you haven't already, but it's pretty well known. Next up, we've got a really good indie horror movie, and that is called We Are Still Here. I did a video of this a long time ago, long time ago. I don't remember if it's still up or not. Anyway, this is a haunting movie done very well, very original, very cool ghosts or demons, whatever you want to call it. Great special effects, mainly practical effects as well. And yeah, the scares are great in this. There's good gore. The story is cool. I really enjoy this one. And it's definitely rewatchable. It really is a good one. Then we've got Borgman. This is sort of an underrated, low key. I don't know if you would call this a foreign movie, or I don't know exactly. I know that it is an American movie. It's the actors, they speak in English, but some speak a different language in it, and they'll have accents or whatever. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where this came from, but anyway, it's more of a suspenseful thriller. There are horror elements, of course, but it's more of a psychological horror. Really well done, though. Definitely not like anything I had seen before, and I believe I ordered this, so I had never seen it, and I was definitely happy with the final product. Seeing the movie once I got it in the mail, and I've always liked it. Next, we've got some Rob Zombie movies. First up is House of a Thousand Corpses. Okay, this is my favorite by him. I do like the Halloween remake. I don't like part 2. But the House of a Thousand Corpses is definitely the better one. Really great, really good gore. There's a lot of sort of callbacks to classic horror movies and things like that. The thing I love about this one is there's multiple different horror elements kind of strewn together, and I think it's very well done. And Yeah, some people I think have said like bad things about this movie, saying it's almost nonsensical or not well composed. But I think there's a lot of great things about this movie, and it's definitely up there in my favorite horror movies. Next up is The Devil's Rejects, which is the sequel to House of a Thousand Corpses, and this is just as good. This one is more has more gritty realism, and it's definitely a horror movie, but it has more like crime and revenge elements, which I really like. I don't like this more than House of a Thousand Corpses, but this one is definitely, it's gonna be a little while before this one gets old. The other one isn't. It didn't get old or anything like that, but it's very rewatchable and just very different from the other one. There are sort of dark comedy elements involved in The Devil's Rejects that I really appreciated. So yeah, that's another one. And then up next we've got Rob Zombie's 31. Now this one I understand the criticism. I should still have a review for this up from a while ago. I just want to say my older reviews are nothing like the ones I'm doing today. Not to say that these are anything high class or crazy, but it was definitely a less well-composed review. Anyway, I still did get my opinion of this movie across, and I'm just going to say again that I do like it. Looking back now, it's definitely not a favorite, and there are some sloppy elements to this movie, but other than that, the visual effects and the villains were very fun. And, the story is, kind of wacky in parts, but I do enjoy it. I enjoy it. It's not perfect, though. I had to pause the video real quick just because of the sound in the background. We're going to keep it rolling anyway. I'm going to try and talk at a good volume so that you can still hear me well. Up next, we've got As Above, So Below. I saw this in the movie theater as well. Really enjoyed this. For a second I thought it was PG-13. It almost behaves like a PG-13 horror movie, but there are also some sort of mild gruesome scenes, I guess you can say. I think there's a lot of great action in this movie. The horror elements are great. It's not like cheap or silly or anything like that. I think all in all, it is a really well done horror movie. And the special effects were great, especially for a found footage movie, technically. I really enjoyed this a lot. Next up, we've got Deliver Us from Evil. I may have done a video of this before, also not sure, so we're going to just keep it rolling. But this is a really good paranormal, like, possession type movie. Really great performances by the two lead actors, and then the villain in this was really nice and menacing. I enjoyed all the performances, like I said, as well as the story. So yeah, all in all, this was really well done. I believe it was based off of a real case. I don't know how much of this is true. You can definitely tell there were a lot of exaggerations and changes made. But I really do enjoy this. And, generally I'm not a huge possession type movie fan, and that movie was a rare exception. Next up, we've got The Purge Anarchy. Okay, we've got a nice slipcase. Now, I like this because of Frank Grillo. All right, he steals the show. He's in the third one as well. Stole the show there, too. He's just great. He's what keeps this movie together. He's a really strong leading role. He's sort of an anti-hero, he saves some people, but that he has bad intentions, or he's out on purge night for a reason, just like everybody else. Anyway, you'll understand that when you check it out. You've had time to go see this one as well. Everybody knows about the Purge series. Although I do want to say that The Purge is a very overrated franchise. I didn't watch the TV show. I don't think I. No, I've actually watched all the Purge movies. They're all fine, but the second one and maybe the third one is where it's at. The first one I hated. I hated the first one, and it's a shame to say because it seemed like it would be cool when it came out, but it really. Ethan Hawke was the only thing I liked in the first Purge movie, and they had to go and kill that character. So I was very disappointed in that, but pleasantly surprised with the Purge 2, the Purge Anarchy with Frank Grillo. Definitely stole the show and was the best thing about that movie and the third one. Anyway, moving on, we've got Wes Craven's The People Under the Stairs. Now, this is a movie that I had on DVD. It was a 2-pack. It was The People Under the Stairs and Wes Craven's Shocker. Now, I don't think I'm ever going to watch Shocker again. I might, it's nothing crazy. This is a well-done horror movie. And it also has coming-of-age elements and just sort of growing up themes and family themes as well. Like, it's not just a horror movie. There's a lot going on here. And it's also, I guess you can say it's got some revenge elements too. I just really love this one. It is a unique story in my opinion, and I believe looking at newer horror movies and things like that, they kind of steal from concepts like this, I guess you can say. Not personally this movie, I guess, but this is really I believe this was a very original one when it came out, and it still is. It still holds up. I really enjoy this one. Next we've got Craig Anderson's Red Christmas. Okay, now this I saw. I forget what I watched this on. Sorry, I don't know what just happened there. I forget what I watched this on, but I really enjoyed it when I first saw it. It's a independent Christmas horror movie. I really loved the villain in this, and the effects were pretty good. Mainly practical effects. Everything looked pretty solid, and the acting was just enough. So I really do enjoy this one, and it's great for Christmas time or Halloween. So that's another plus. Definitely check out Red Christmas. And the villain's backstory is very interesting too. I really enjoyed that movie. Then we've got a kind of tattered copy of Stephen King's The Night Flyer. Now this has always been up there in my favorites. I love the lead actor in this. This guy is immaculate. It's a shame he died. He was also in The Stand and many others. I love the vampire in this movie. Very cool looking. This is based off of the short story by Stephen King. This is an HBO movie from the 90s, 1998. Really well done. Still holds up. A little bit cheesy here and there, but it's definitely a fun ride. And it's nice to go back, go back and just enjoy it. Next we've got Pet Sematary, which I haven't opened yet. I got this copy from my brother for Christmas. Along with, it's funny, along with this, 50 Shades Freed, which I will not be watching. This, though, awesome. Needed it for my collection, so I'm happy about that. There was just a remake. Haven't seen it yet. I will eventually. And I do like this movie. Not a huge fan of the ending, but this is just a classic, it's a classic Stephen King horror movie that everybody's got to see. And the other thing, I'm tired of seeing book reviews for horror novels and still including Pet Sematary, like everybody else hasn't read it yet, It's just crazy to me. Anyway, I had to mention that because it's in my collection. Next is Stephen King's Sometimes They Come Back. Now, this is very underrated. This does not get enough credit. Very well done. There's a few sequels to this, I believe, and all those are garbage as far as I'm concerned. This is where it's at. I would have to go back and look at the other ones, but this is really well done. This is basically, I think it's like a gang of undead greasers that kind of come back from the dead and torment this school teacher and a couple students, and it's this whole thing. Very cool, though. I love the concept in this. It was based off of the short story. But I think this was a TV movie, and I really did enjoy every bit of it. It's a little bit cheesy or whatever, it's kind of older. Whatever though, I really liked it. Yeah, I'm happy to have this one. Now we're gonna get into some zombie movies. First off is Day of the Dead. George Romero's Day of the Dead. My favorite zombie movie of all time, I think. Really well done. Love this zombie here, Bub. I love all the special effects by Greg Nicotero, and I think Tom Savini was involved as well. But I love the Greg Nicotero special effects in this. He was also an actor in this movie as well. He had a small role, but if you don't know, Greg Nicotero is the guy who does all the special effects for The Walking Dead and all that stuff. He did a great job in this, as well as things like, Night of the Living Dead and, other zombie movies like that, other George Romero zombie movies like that. This is my favorite. I love Dawn of the Dead as well, but that is kind of out of print right now. I got to get a copy sometime. My favorite zombie movies are really Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead. Those are the best ones. You can't go wrong. They're cult classics. They'll always be up there. The gore is great. The best zombies, you can see them trying to recreate this zombie thing nowadays, and it's kind of played out or whatever. This is where it's at. You'll always get quality when you watch these zombie movies. Now going into on that note, I want to talk about a zombie, sort of a zombie movie that was made in 2007 or around there, and that is Planet Terror. That is actually, it's a zombie movie amongst other things, but you can call it a zombie movie. This is the Grindhouse 2 movie set. It's Planet Terror and Death Proof. Death Proof is great with Kurt Russell, but I enjoy Planet Terror a little bit more just because it's a zombie movie. It's kind of sci-fi, science fiction. It's a little comedy. It's action. It's adventure. It's thriller. It's great. I love it. A lot of great themes going on in the movie and really fun special effects. You can definitely tell that it's kind of a nod or a throwback to classic zombie movies and things like that. So I really appreciate that. And really the whole thing about these two is it's a nod to Grindhouse cinema as a whole. It's supposed to look sort of like you're watching it in a drive-in or something like that. The other thing is the fake movie trailers for both of these. Very cool. No, I'm not a fan of the Machete movie. There's no need to see that, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. I know a lot of people like it, but Planet Terror and Death Proof are great. This is Robert Rodriguez on Planet Terror, and then Quentin Tarantino on Death Proof. Both really great, but I wanted to mention it on the note of zombie movies. Next up is more of an infection movie, but definitely my favorites. And those are 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later. They're both perfect. I like this one a lot. Saw this when I was young. It was always like very interesting to me. And then this one, this one's a lot more intense. This one's kind of small scale horror, but it's very interesting, and it's still riveting and like definitely suspenseful and has a lot of thrilling scenes and stuff. I don't know which I like more, honestly, but these both are great. And I wonder if they're ever gonna do like a 28 months later or some shit like that. I really love those two movies, though. They're both great. Next up, we've got the Tales from the Crypt box set. This is the complete series from HBO. Gotta have that. Now, a lot of these are really cheesy nowadays, and it's kind of a shame. Not all of them hold up that well. They don't stand the test of time. Some of them, I mean. Others really are still great, Some are really fun to watch still, and I enjoy all of these. Some of the plots and storylines for the episodes are a little bit cheaper, kind of stupid, but in the middle of the dumb ones, there's always good ones. And as a whole, I really love this show, and I had to get this collection. You love the Crypt Keeper as a narrator and character for the intro of each episode. Like, you gotta love that. He kind of gave like comedy to the show. I don't know what I was saying before. He gave a good comedy element to the show, and I just love that. Like, it's kind of stupid, but like dark humor or whatever that he provided. And as a whole, it's great to get this box set. Though not all of them are good episodes, you're getting 7 seasons, and I think the good outweighs the bad. So anyway, that's what I think of the box set. I'm really happy to have that one. It took me a long time to get it, but I'm very pleased to have it. Next, we've got this movie called This. All right, this movie is very fucked up. Okay, this it says, "What you sow, you will reap," in the very back. You don't want to know what this is about. All right, I'll read the back, but there's a lot more to it. All right. An ex-soldier with a criminal past takes refuge in the woods. A demonic figure seeks the seed of killers and the blood of the damned to feed his mandrake garden. This is an infernal descent into the root of the mandrake legend, and a man who wanders too close to that legend and the unnameable terror behind it. So that's a good description of the movie, but of course there's so much more going on. And it's very gruesome and strange and unnerving. This is by Unearthed Films, which put out a lot of messed up stuff, I guess you can say. Anyway, I really did enjoy this one. It's a lot shorter than I thought, but the special effects, the villain, the suspense, the eeriness, the vibes, all of it, I really do like this. As soon as I saw the trailer, I was drawn right in. They had me on the hook. I pre-ordered it, was psyched to get it in the mail, had my boy over, we watched it, and oh my god, was it good. Really messed up, though. Not for the faint of heart. And there's a lot of stuff that I wish I could get into to warn you further, but I'm going to let you go in blind just like I did. I believe this is an underrated gem, though, so check it out. Now, we're going to hop right into the rest, okay? Here we go. We got TV shows and then comic book movies and science fiction things, and it's basically the miscellaneous part of my shelf. So first off, we've got Hannibal Season 1, Season 2, and then Season 3, okay? Definitely check out Hannibal. That is better than Dexter, in my opinion. Now, I know they're two different shows. I love Dexter. It was definitely a favorite. But then when I watched Hannibal, I said, hey, see you later. Hannibal is where it's at. Not that you have to pick favorites or anything, but Hannibal is crisp. It's stylized, sexy violence. It's super gruesome at times. There's awesome killing scenes. The two performances, Hugh Dancy and Mads Mikkelsen, they're both great in this. There's also, that's his name, Lawrence Fishburne. The cast in the show is awesome. The story is great. Season 3 deals with the Red Dragon, which was really cool too. I just loved every bit of it. It's a shame that it ended with 3 seasons. I was really looking forward to there being more. But anyway, we're going to continue on with Todd McFarlane's Spawn, the animated collection. Now, I saw this at a very young age. I got it, and it was not a mistake, but it was very ahead of my age when I saw it. Oh my god. I didn't know that HBO animation would be so adult, and boy was I surprised. This was quite the awakening, I guess you could say. Oh my god, but this is the best representation of the Spawn comic in motion picture or movie form. I don't know what the word I'm trying to look for is. It just basically it feels like Spawn from the comics brought on to the animated platform, and it's perfect. It's gritty, it's disturbing, it's super crude and inappropriate. There's a million things I love about this, and it really does hold up. You watch this and it doesn't feel like you're watching some cheap animation. You're really tuned in, and I love every bit of this show. I remember watching it when I was young, kind of binge watching it, I guess, when I would get time. And oh my God, it really was maybe not the right thing to be watching at that age, but oh my God, was it good. And it didn't taint anything. It didn't mess with me, I saw it a little bit young or whatever, loved every bit of it. I think I was mature enough to appreciate what was being shown on the screen, and I still do. So check that one out. Then we've got Frank Miller's Sin City, all right? Sin City 2 is just fine. All right, but then we've got The Crow. This is one of my favorite anti-hero movies ever. I'm more of an anti-hero fan than the superheroes, and I like the villains a lot as well. Then we've got The Punisher with Thomas Jane and John Travolta. This is the best movie version of The Punisher there is. There's The Punisher Warzone, which was good, but this is definitely the favorite. And then you have Punisher on Netflix, which was really good, but there's nothing quite like this version. And also, I do like Dolph Lundgren playing the Punisher from the early 80s or late 80s, whenever it was. Then we've got the complete motion comic of Watchmen, okay? Now, this is basically a motion comic, is what you're seeing. The one downside to this is the narration for the voices. It's very corny and anticlimactic, I guess. It keeps you from being deeply immersed in the story. That's the one downside. But it is amazing seeing the comic come to life in cartoon form. Now, if that doesn't do it for you, you can go right to Watchmen, the director's cut, directed by Zack Snyder, and this is phenomenal. This is one of the best superhero movies I've ever seen. The special effects are through the roof, the acting is great, the story is great. It's just like the comic, but in movie form, and it is so well done. Then we've got Kick-Ass, which I read the comic at a young age. Really enjoyed this movie, and I still do. Haven't seen it in a while, but it's always going to be great. Natural Born Killers, this movie really pushes the envelope. Woody Harrelson and Juliette Lewis, Robert Downey Jr. and Tommy Lee Jones all did a great job in this movie. The special effects and editing is great. The story is very dark, very bleak, but there is dark comedy elements and other things that I liked. Really love this movie. Then we've got Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This is a classic. And then coming up next, we've got some more favorites. We've got Big Trouble in Little China. Loved this since I was a little kid. Kurt Russell is great in that movie. Then another John Carpenter movie, and that is The Thing, which also has Kurt Russell. This is a classic, always will be. I used to watch this movie every night when I had a portable DVD player. Then we've got Terminator 1. I love Terminator 2 as well, but this is where it's really at. That scene where he's in the mirror and it shows the side of his face, and it's showing the robot, and there's the gore, and then later when you see him in full robot form, that was just perfect. That's what the 80s was all about. I love that movie. Then we've got Alien. Really well done. Really well done. This is a masterpiece. It's always going to be. I love this. I think I want to say I think I like Aliens a little bit more, but Alien is a more well-rounded movie and well put together. Then we have Alien Covenant. I skip all the in-between. I don't like Alien 3. Alien Resurrection is fine, but we go right to Alien Resurrection because this was just as good as Alien and Aliens. This really brought you back to the roots and let you. It really, it kind of just showed you what was up. You know, it kind of flexes on you a little bit. That new look to the alien. You know, Prometheus is fine, but this was awesome. You know, it's just kind of showing you we can go back to the roots. You know, like classic Alien, but we're gonna do it even better and even more gruesome. And that was just badass. Like, this movie is so good. Then another science fiction movie that I absolutely loved, and that's Annihilation. I talk about this in another video that you can go look at. Oh my God, is this good? Natalie Portman, Oscar Isaac, everybody in the cast was great, but the special effects and the story, oh my God. Go check that one out. Then, of course, we've got Interstellar, which felt like I was in space when I first watched it. Really blew me away. I love everything about that movie. It's definitely a long watch, you know, like, I don't know how rewatchable it is. I've seen it just enough times to still enjoy it. But then we've got Super 8. We're going to try and go kind of fast, but True Detective, immaculate HBO series. You don't need to go and watch season 2 or 3. Actually, I didn't check out season 3, so I'll have to see, but this is so well done. Love season 1. Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson were so good in it. The story is so good. Really, really love that one. And then next up, my favorite show of all time, and that is The Wire. It doesn't get better than this, all right? It doesn't get better than this. This is the most realistic and well done showing of crime from the eyes of law enforcement and on the street, you know. So you get to see the perspective of the drug dealers and criminals, you know, what have you, and then you have law enforcement, you know, detectives, and then police and all of that. This is such a good show. I've loved this from the very beginning. I'm blessed to have this box set. Definitely my favorite thing in my whole entire collection. I cannot give this enough praise. It gets better every time you watch it. Oh my God, it's good. I was watching it before I could even comprehend the show entirely, but I knew that I was loving it. And then, of course, you watch it, you give it a second viewing all the way through, and it just gets better. Then we've got American Horror Story Asylum. So this is the second season. I like season 1, 2, and then from then on it gets kind of blurry, but there are others that I enjoyed. This one's an obvious one. If you don't know about it, you probably didn't even get Netflix yet. And then I'm going to speed this up. We got just enough time. We're going to go through Bored to Death Season 1, Bored to Death Season 2, okay, and then Bored to Death Season 3. That is my second favorite show of all time. All right, it goes The Wire, then Bored to Death, okay? Go check out Bored to Death. It's a lighthearted, warm-feeling comedy show. It's good for, like, the family. It's good for anybody. Just really exciting, really well done. You learn to love the characters. You don't even learn to love the characters. You love them immediately. I love the dynamic between the main character and Ted Danson. Ted Danson is great. Zach Galifianakis is great as well. And then I've got Girls Season 1 and 2, which I don't think I'm a fan of anymore. But I don't know. I think I got that in the past just because it's... Really, the main reason I got that show is because it's a coming-of-age story, and it's about growing up and going into adulthood, which is such an important concept in film and literature and whatever else. I like the idea that it would be like kind of a real, you know, like coming-of-age and growing up type story or whatever. But it, you know, it's kind of like an HBO, or no, that's not a good. It's very similar to Sex and the City or whatever. So not a huge fan of that anymore. But that was my whole collection so far. And yeah, stay tuned. I'll do another video sometime. I know this video was longer, but hey, it had to be like that. But yeah, I'm probably gonna sell the Girls box set and a few others. But for the most part, I loved everything that I mentioned, and most of them were all gems. And yeah, hopefully you watch this video and you have some new movies to watch and you take my word. Anyway, if you like the video, show some love. If not, whatever. Do what you want to do. And if you watch this whole thing, thanks for sticking around. Anyway, that's all, and we're done.